All right, welcome back to the No Name Nonsense podcast. We are back with another. I feel like today we're getting all the hot relationship, topics out the way, all in one swoop here.
Knock 'em
So
out.
The tea.
I know, right? Young Jeezy's fiance, I think his name is Jan Ma, or something like that. She mentioned on one of the shows that she's on. I don't know if it's the real.
Yeah, she's on the real.
Yeah, yeah.
I know this chick.
She made a comment about that once she gets married to Jeezy, she will basically become a submissive wife. And so some of them on the real gave some blowback, and she said, "Well, when I say submissive, I mean that I'm gonna be out there and be a boss out in the streets, but when I come to the house, I'm basically going to cater to my man and take care of my man. Like he's going to be the head of the house, regardless of how much money or how many business deals I do outside of the house." And so I thought that was an interesting topic to think about. Well, one with Mama Steve here being a feminist, but then also as two male perspectives as being married. Is is it okay or is it right or for the woman to quote unquote claim or want to be submissive to a husband?
I don't view a marriage as submissive, to be honest. I don't. Back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, it was, protocol that the wife be submissive to the husband and
Well,
care.
what do you consider submissive? Let's start there. Let's start with what do you define as
Basically,
submissive?
basically giving in to the husband. Like you have no say in anything.
Yeah.
Like you make no decisions of your own. You have to go through your husband. See, for me, my husband and I have a marriage where we view our marriage as an equal partnership. I make him happy, he makes me happy. And if one of us isn't happy, the other isn't happy. We take care of each other. We make the decisions together. I
Hmm.
mean, it's because, his opinions matter to me and my opinions matter to him. And if there's something we disagree with, we compromise. And that's how a happy marriage works, and that's how it's worked for us. Um, we know of people that have or are in submissive marriages and they're not happy.
Hmm.
They're not happy at all. And we talk about that. And we do compare it to ours. Like what makes our marriage happy is that we view each other equally. Um, we don't judge each other on the money that we make. We are a unit.
Hmm.
We are one compatible unit. So whatever money I make, that's the money he makes. Whatever money he makes, that's the money I make. So it's we do everything together.
Do you guys have joint accounts?
No, we don't.
Okay.
And there's a reason why. There's
Before we go there, I'll double back that.
Hmm.
So we no one has a real way to measure success in a marriage. I think the only statistic or thought process we have of managing success in a marriage, I guess, is divorce rate. So could an argument be made that back in the era where you thought women were more submissive, the divorce rate was way lower than it is now? Could you make the argument that because women are less submissive, that is what has made the divorce rate so much higher because it is now trying to manage two people's interests primarily, where in a submissive state, quote unquote, the man's interest primarily is number one and the woman's interest is the secondary interest. Could that be a logical thought process, or what do you say to that kind of thought?
To me, the woman is gonna, after a while, the woman's gonna feel like she's caged up and she can't get out, and like her opinion doesn't matter. Because sure, his opinion matters, but then she's gonna be like, well, I want this. He's like, no, I'm the boss of this house. We're gonna do it this way. And of course, it's gonna upset her, and you're gonna have months and years of that going on, and eventually she's gonna get tired of that, and she's gonna be like, no, I'm an independent woman. I want my voice to be heard. If you cannot respect my opinion, you cannot respect how I'm feeling, you cannot respect what I'm doing, then bye, I will find someone that will respect my opinion. See, back then, it was a little bit different. It was very taboo to talk about independence for women. Now it is the norm. Feminism is a big thing. We are able to do more things than females were able to do back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So the mindset of a woman is going to be like, well, I matter. I'm a woman, my opinion matters. And I feel that if a woman is submissive to her husband and the husband doesn't appreciate or doesn't value her opinion or take her into consideration, then she's going to feel trapped. She's going to feel like a lost soul, and she's going to want out.
But I think maybe why I'm off on it is that being submissive to your husband doesn't mean your views and ideas don't matter.
To
That,
some men, it could mean that way.
but I feel like being submissive is that means he makes the final decision.
Hmm.
I can make my final decision by hearing your voices and what you want to do and saying, that's a great idea, let's do it. Or I can hear it and go, nah, actually, I'm not vibing on that. I'm going to do it. We're going to do it this way because that's my final decision on it. I think also too, when your wife being submissive does not mean that the husband negates anything that you are. I think it's just a point of he kind of makes the final decisions in the house. He kind of makes the final thought process of how this family's going to move together as one unit. Almost kind of like a captain or a leader, and then you have your second in command, which would be the wife, and then probably your troops or the kids when you have kids. So I guess for me, when I think of a submissive wife, I think my wife is going to refer or speak to me before any decisions is made, and she's going to make sure she has clearance from me before she does anything. My wife is going to make sure that I'm taken care of and provided for and set up in the best possible position to be successful. Now, I know some of the lines are blurred because, yes, in the area you're talking about, most women didn't work. So you had that responsibility to make sure your husband was set in the best spot to go make the money for the family. Where now women do work, so it is a little bit of jading or graying of that area because I guess when I think submissive, I just think that you allow the man to be the head of the household, and no decision that gets done in the house doesn't. It's not everything has to be signed off by him.
Hmm.
I don't see anything wrong with it. I think that's how most organizations, that's how most relationships in general, person to person, friends, kind of move and kind of work. So when I hear her say she's going to be submissive to her husband, all I'm hearing is that, yeah, I may come home with the bag, but if I want a new Benz and he like, nah, 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 we going to fix the refrigerator or go to Cabo or whatever, then that's what we doing with the bag I brought home. It's the woman.
I mean, he's made final decisions on things, but I have also made final decisions on things.
Right.
So that's with us, there is no submission. We do things together.
Yeah.
He made the final decision on one vacation. We did go to Cabo, and that was, he's like, I want to go to Cabo, and this is why.
Hmm.
And it was either Cabo or, I can't remember what other vacation spot we were wanting to go, but he made the final decision and we went to Cabo. This past year, I made the final decision to go on a cruise because of economics. It's more economically friendly.
So
And
I guess the question is, let's say he didn't want to go on the cruise. Would you have relented and been like, okay, let's figure something out? Or you would have been like, nah, we going on this cruise because you chose last time.
that
Okay. I just want to throw. That's
and
why I would have undressed this. That's why.
we
Unpack this.
for starters, we do take turns on a lot of things.
Okay.
When movie theaters were open and we go to the movies together, one weekend we would go see whatever he wanted, but the next week we would go see whatever I wanted.
Right.
So we take turns on the final decision.
That's what's up.
Though I will say that I have relayed certain tasks to him because I do feel like he would be more authoritative on those certain tasks. Like with my car, we had an issue with the engine, so he has taken over that, so it's less stress for me. So I don't have to stress out about it because I do have really bad anxiety.
Right.
So there's stuff like that. And yes, we do have separate bank accounts.
Right. Right.
We do. And
Why? Why do
well,
you have separate as opposed to joint?
well, we thought about doing a joint bank account, but um, there have been several times that our bank accounts have gotten compromised,
Hmm.
and having the separate account as a backup just in case made us feel a whole lot better instead of having one bank account where the bank account can be compromised and then
Yeah.
something could go wrong.
Hmm.
Before we went to Germany, my bank account got compromised and they took out like $3,000.
Mm.
The scammer did, and it took about 2 weeks to get all that back.
Mm.
But we had his bank account and we had the credit card to fall back on until they were able to resolve that issue. So I didn't feel as anxious about it.
Look at it, and people will hear that and go, "Nah, come on, man. Like your accounts got compromised, so you don't got a joint account." Because like some people were gonna listen to that and be like, they gonna call, they gonna be like, "Man, that's the Mike Pence fly," and be like, "Come on,
Okay.
man." Like let's just keep it. I mean, you don't got to talk about it, but let's just keep it real. Like most time, when people keep a separate bank account and not a joint, somebody in there got bad spending habits. Let's just keep it funky.
I mean, he knows about my spending habits, and I do know about his spending habits because we are honest about our spending habits. He sees what I buy, and I see what he buys.
Right, right, right,
And we do share, we do share a credit card. So
right.
he sees all that. There's nothing to hide on that. It's just having the two separate bank accounts works for us because one, I can allow him to have his independence on his financials, and I'm allowed my independence on mine. The bills are getting paid. I take care of half the bills. He takes care of the other half. What we used to do was when we first got married, I would pay for all the bills, and he would write me a check for half. But now I want him to establish more credit. So what we decided to do was when we moved here, we put a lot of things in his name, the utility bills and everything. And there are certain things that are in my name, so it's an even balance. And I pay for certain bills of the house, and he pays for certain bills of the house, and that's been helping his credit. But also, I'm responsible for these; he's responsible for those.
Because I want to double back to something you said that kind of made me think of something. But
Okay.
I want to let DJ jump in here because DJ Jamaican, and as I say that, you see he giggled. The people that know about Jamaicans, it's a different kind of vibe how that family system works a lot of times when it comes to the interaction with the man and the woman. And so I would. What's your thought on the submissive wife type of? And I
Uh,
know your wife very well, so I'm interested to see what your take is on it.
well, like you mentioned, my family's from a Jamaican background, and she's American, purebred, and
Purebred.
Purebred.
I really don't uh, believe in the whole submissive thing. I guess growing up in a household, but both parents being Jamaican, my mom and my stepdad. My mom was the breadwinner. My mom came, what I'm saying, she brought home the bag.
Right, right, right.
And so I guess I was already accustomed to that, situation and lifestyle. So that was easy transition, for me, into my marriage with my wife being the breadwinner. However, we come together and make, mutual decisions. But she still, allows me to, kind of be still the man. Like, what I'm saying, we discuss everything, and but I don't hold it to her, like, I don't come and like, this is what we're doing and that's it.
Right, right,
What I'm
right.
saying? It's just something, we always discuss and hash it out, and just come down to a decision that's best for our family. We do have joint, account. Well, actually, no. We,
Uh
we we
oh.
have we have
No.
separate accounts,
Oh.
but we have we both we have access to all the accounts. Like, I
Right,
can
right,
see
right.
I can see her account, she can see my account, and we see who's spending what, and who's spending, and who's, where the current status of their account is.
Right.
And if I see something outlandish that, what I'm saying, just don't look right, or I was like,
Honey, what
okay,
is
what's this?
this?
You know what I'm saying? I be seeing Amazon packages at the door on a regular basis. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, what we got to do. But I don't have I don't expect her to be, my wife to be submissive at all times. I don't feel comfortable with that term. I know that's how it used to be back in the day. The woman supposed to be submissive. I guess it was different mainly because the man was the breadwinner. You know what I'm saying? And when you're the breadwinner, you have the power pretty much.
Who handles the finances in your home, in your household?
Well, she pays all the bills.
Okay, that's how it is in my
Yes,
household too
yeah,
as
she
well.
pays all the bills. Some is in my name,
Yeah, yeah.
some is in, her name. But what I'm saying, she gets, like I said, she has access to my account. So whenever my check comes, she take what she need to take out of it to put aside for the bills,
Yeah.
and put some in savings and go from there.
Rest, go do.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll just monitor it, check it out, be like, okay, we
Yeah, that's
good.
what working with this
We
month.
good.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Dapper up, bow. Good job this week. All right, move on to the next week.
I think when I think of a submissive woman, I think of a woman that sees the bigger picture, where she wants her man focused on the here and now to be the most successful they can be, while she's moving all the cords behind, and then, like I said, coming in making sure that it's understood what's going on. So even in my relationship, I remember my wife asked me, she's like, "Well, who do you think runs ours?" And I was like, "Oh, me." She kind of looked at me sideways, and I know in her mind she's like, and I'm like, "Look, I'm like, I just not want to use the term I let you, but everything you do pretty much goes on because I'm cool with it. Like, I don't have any issues with it. And if I had an issue with it, I will voice it.
Yeah.
And if my voice wasn't respected, we're gonna have a whole other litany of problems. So I'm like, but yeah, like everything that goes on, I've trust you enough to always make the right decision. So you don't gotta come to me for everything. But with that being said, when it's big decisions, I expect you to come to me, and I expect typically once you give me all the information, my word to be the final word. And if I'm finally saying no to something, that means I must really, 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 really don't want this to go down. Because I'm never really going to say no.
Yeah.
I'm usually always going to be agreeable and be like, yeah, let's just keep it cheaper to keep her, happy wife, happy life. But if I'm saying no to this,
Yeah.
then it's like, nah, we shutting this down. And so she was like, well, what if I was adamant about saying no about something? Would you just shut it down, or would you keep doing it? And I said, I think in that situation, it would come to a point that I would say we would have some friction there, because if I really felt like I couldn't follow your no, and you couldn't understand why I was not following it, I probably would make the decision without you, but I would also try to make sure that you understood why this was done. And I'm like, I know that won't fly for you,
Yeah.
but I feel like sometimes, as a man that is very conscious of what's going on and what's going on with your family, sometimes you got to make decisions that everybody ain't going to like. And when these moments come and I make these decisions and it fucks up and I lose my credibility, then we can have that discussion about, but if every time I put my foot down and say no or go do something that you say it shouldn't and it turns out right, you got to start trusting the process. I hate to be like the Phillips 76ers, but you got to trust the process on it. And I think that's the thing what I was going to go to when you talked about the money being made and who was the breadwinner. I think it's not about the money being made. I think it's about how the people handle the money that is in the house. That sometimes gives the credibility or not. When we talk about the submissive, look, Young Jeezy's future wife can be submissive to Young Jesus. He's a millionaire. He figured out a way to make his money. So when she comes with some idea and he ain't with it, she can respect his business acumen enough to say, you're right. Just like if your wife and my wife, and when you guys what you have it, I guarantee you, if they come to us about the kids, we're probably more likely going to be like, okay, what do you need for me to support that?
Yeah.
Because typically, a lot of times, I know my wife works more with my kids than I do
Yeah.
when it comes to school and all that stuff. So she's the expert in that field. You come to me, I'm never going to tell you no. Just tell me what I need to do. But if it's something about, let's say we're talking about stocks or something like that I feel like I'm versed in more, and I'm going to be like, nah, we not putting money in that stock. And you're like, no, I really, nah, we putting money here.
You got
like,
a hunch. Like, I do this every day.
Right,
I do my research,
And
do
I
my
think
homework.
that's where it is. I think sometimes that money, when it comes to money, sex, and education, I think those are the sticking points when it comes to that submissive attitude. And sometimes as a leader of your family, you have enough knowledge to say, I don't know enough. So I trust you because you know enough. Do what you need to do. But I think it is a certain point, for me in my household, I couldn't have a situation where if I'm like, nah, we're going back and forth about it. Like, after a while, once I finally say, nah, I gotta kind of, and I know it's kind of a dick, and I go, oh, that's fucked up. But at the end of the day, I run my house, but I also run my house correctly. My wife knows I'm going to be there. My wife knows I'm going to be present. My wife knows if she expects something from me, it's going to be done. It isn't a situation where, nah, I ain't feel like doing the dishes today, so I'm back here watching Martin. And she come home from her day at work and she doing dishes and looking at me sideways.
Yeah,
It ain't
yeah.
like, the kids got dirty clothes and I'm like, oh man, laundry room looking crazy. Like, I think people's mind of submissive is that. Where
Yeah.
the guy sits and does nothing all day and the woman's coming back from work, hustling, cooking dinner, doing this and doing that, and making herself still look presentable, and then still gotta have sex with them. And then it's like, whoa, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's people's mind of submissive. Mine is like, no, I am the final decision maker, but at the end of the day, I really don't care about a lot of this stuff. So just make the decisions and come through. But when it's something big, we gotta have this, and I'm a final say. And that's my vision of submissive. But I know mine is more antiquated, and people are gonna kill me for it. Be like, oh fuck you, you can't tell her what she can do and can't do with her own money, and she working on. And it's like, well, if she's cool with it, then you shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. You got to do what
Which
works
she may
best
not
for
be
y'all.
cool with it. We've never really had that full on conversation. It's
Yeah.
just been kind of known and accepted that way. I know Mama Steve is cringing her butt off.
I
Go
am.
ahead, get it in. I'm gonna let you have the final word. Get it off.
I'm interested to see how this relationship goes with Jeezy and what's her name, because I just have a feeling that it's going to get real old real fast. I'm serious, because she's going to be like, Jeezy, honey, I really want these Jimmy Choos. And he's going to say no. Okay. 2 weeks later, Jeezy, honey, I really want this Gucci purse. No. Okay. 2 weeks later, Jeezy, honey, I really want this crossbreed pop. No. You say no a lot, do you not? And she's gonna like, get like defensive and everything. And next thing you know, we have another celebrity divorce. See, to me, it's exactly what you're stating that I'm picturing as, because it's exactly what I'm picturing it as. Is the husband is gonna be like, no, 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 or we're gonna do this, that, and the other, and then the woman's gonna be like, okay, and after a while she's gonna be like, well, wait a minute. How come I don't have how come I can't make the finals? How come we can't have shoes? How come we can't have crossbreed pups?
Those are common folk problems. They won't have them problems.
Well, you know what I mean. I'm just giving examples.
That's me and Jay problems. Like that's a whole. They're on a whole nother level.
Okay, well, I'm giving examples.
Celebrity problems is what I'm saying.
Even going to that, I feel like most celebrity marriages are 50-50 and they get divorced more than anybody.
More like 80-20.
Like, cool. Like, you think that Angelina Jolie was like submissive to Brad Pitt when she was with him?
Oh,
like,
heck no.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I feel like most of the celebrity, where you said, it's not a celebrity divorce, well, that kind of goes from our argument that the ones, I feel like if we look at people who've had careers and relationships where the perceived wife was more like, submissive, I feel like it works out longer.
I was interested to see how this goes. It really is. I'm interested to see if they make it through the submissive thing.
Right. Some of part of that being that submissive part is like fucking your husband.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a lot
gonna
of times,
be another segment for another day.
I know. I'm saying it's a lot of times a woman ain't trying to be down, and after a man hears no 2, 3, 4 days in a row, some men find their mind to want to wander and go other places. Not saying it's justified. I'm saying that some of part of that being submissive is fucking your husband.
Okay, are we going to talk about this now or another segment?
Oh, we can end it here. I'm just throwing it out there, because I know people are going to hit us that we didn't talk about that function of being submissive, which I think a lot of women have an issue with, which I will admit I don't go that far.
Yeah.
Where, the woman ain't in the mood and the man is, and some women would say, and part of being submissive is like, well, anytime my man's in the mood, I gotta be in the mood. So, but I mean, I just want to throw it out there because people will kill us if we don't hit that topic or at least mention it. That is some people's a part of being submissive is that the women got to be ready anytime, and it's no requirement for the man to be ready every time.
Oh, I have a lot to say about that.
We're gonna save it. We're gonna make sure we're gonna come back to that. We're gonna do a part 2 on this one, guys.
Part 2,
we're gonna do a part 2
coming soon.
Thank you for listening again for the No Name Nonsense podcast. Please check out our playlist on Spotify under DJ Tunes and Cordy J. Oh, Mama Steve is ready for that.
But only if you want to. Don't let us make the final decision for you.
Thank you guys for listening as always. We'll see you all real quick.
Deuces.